Hello, everybody. My name is Seth Setman. I'm the president of LEEF this year. You all know who LEEF is, so we thank you so much for coming here today. You're here because either your children and the future, or you are someone who's been on the receiving end of one of these grants. So I want to thank you so much. You are the reason why we do it. I'll get sappy a little bit later, but first we can call Marty O'Shea up to say a few words. I'm sure he's about to, because you all represent kind of the best and brightest, the people who are willing to go above and beyond to do the important work to make our educational system even better. So thank you, Dr. O'Shea.
Good afternoon. So much thanks to our partners at LEEF, and I think over the years, the types of projects that have been inspired by LEEF grants, but have later taken root as part of our regular program. And so LEEF generously funds creative, energetic initiatives that our teachers are interested in, and so many times the seeds that are planted by LEEF grants grow into part of our programmatic offering. So when I think about the list of grants that was funded here, it cuts across every nook and cranny of the district. The arts, math literacy, language literacy, DEI initiatives, executive functioning initiatives, the performing arts, and every other discipline that can be imagined. And so the projects that are here are a great representation of the energy that our teachers have for trying new and creative things, but also a reflection of the great community that we're fortunate to work in, one that has an educational foundation that is the envy of so many communities around. And so grateful to LEEF, grateful to the teachers that put the grants together, thankful to the administrators for supporting those grants as well, and we hope we have a good opportunity to push out this celebration of the creative work that is represented here today. So thank you, Seth. Thank you to the whole LEEF board. All right.
So we have two teachers who have agreed to chat with us today, for which I'm very appreciative. I just want to share my story real quick because I think it's kind of important and it speaks to the work that you do. So I started volunteering with LEEF because I had a daughter in the school system. My daughter Emerson's at Blueberry Hill, loves it, great work. Dr. Allen, thank you. And now I'm a teacher. So I teach 5th grade math and science. And last year I remember coming in and speaking about how appreciative I was of you all, not only for teaching my child, but because now I kind of see behind the curtain and I see all the hard work that you do. And the other thing that I realize is that in none of your contracts does it say that you should be trying to get grants, right? This is work that you do after you finish grading tests, writing emails to parents, dealing with kids, dealing with them again, then dealing with their parents because of it. You do so much work, and the fact that you keep going above and beyond is, as a colleague, heartening, thank you. As a parent, it's like so fulfilling to know that my kid is in good hands. And so now the other lens I have on it this year is we have E.L.E.F in East Longmeadow. They ripped off our name. We won't get into that. Litigation is pending. But so I applied for and got a grant this year. So in my classroom, we've got aero gardens growing, hydroponic gardens in the back, and it's really exciting. And the kids come every day and they check how their little plants are doing. And so it's those little things that for me really make a difference. Like Ben, every day, he'll come in and he'll check his plant. It's barely grown, but it's like having a pet dog for him. It's so exciting. And so it's little things that I see now that make a huge difference. And so the little things that you do are making a huge difference, whether it seems like it or not. And so I'm just coming to you all today from a place of sincere gratitude and appreciation because I'm thankful as a parent. And I'm also thankful because I'm aware of how tiring and exhausting and sometimes non-thankful this work is. And the fact that you all not only do what you need to do, but that you go above and beyond is fantastic to me. And so I just wanted to take the time to say that I appreciate you and I see you, and we should all go take a nap later. So just a couple, let's get Brenda Mazza up here to say a few words. Brenda, this isn't your first year getting a grant, is it? So thank you for all the work that you do. So let's give her a round of applause. Come up here and talk a little bit about what she does.
I'm definitely not as good as those two gentlemen who went before me. I'm going to have to read from my notes. LEEF asked me if I would speak today because we've had 3 years now in a row of getting grants for decodables for our elementary classrooms, our K-2 in particular. So I just want to say that Julia Mana, who is the literacy coach for 3 to 5 and works with me, both of us are so happy to have this opportunity to publicly thank you on the LEEF committee for the generosity you've shown to our K-2 students. You've supported us so generously as we work to broaden the collection of quality decodable readers that we have in all of our elementary schools. Going back 3 years now, LEEF has funded this project. They actually began this funding 2 years before we ever were certain that we would be changing our approach to the foundational education for our primary students. Even then, LEEF members were listening to our teachers and trusting in their professionalism about the current research and the best practices in education. For those educators who are close to my age, you probably have heard the word decodables and you've thought, the cat sat on the mat, the bug sat on the cat, go bug, go cat, and you might be thinking, really, is that best practice? And you're right, it wasn't best practice. There are no true storylines to those books, nothing of substance to talk about, and basically, no engagement. However, times have changed, and so have decodables. They had to. Research can now prove the benefits for early emergent readers when they are asked to immediately and directly apply the phonics skills that were just taught to them by their teacher into real-sounding text as soon as possible. Some researchers even believe that up to 70% of a student's time in a phonics lesson should be spent actually reading a decodable book so that they're using those words, those skills that they just learned about in an actual story. So that makes for a need for a lot of decodable readers. But some things have not changed. Kids don't want to read boring books. They want text to be interesting. If not, there's no thrill and there's no desire to keep reading. LEEF committee members realized that having us dust off any old decodables that we might have in our buildings would have been taking a step backwards. Decodables need to be engaging, but another thing will never change. To become a better reader, you need to read, but you need to want to read. So you still might be saying, but why decodable readers? There are great books for all grade levels in our school libraries, in our community libraries, in our classroom libraries. Well, this is important for our earliest readers to be in a decodable book because we want to encourage them to want to read. Reading shouldn't feel like an impossible struggle. Our earliest readers need to believe that at least for a little while, that the print that they see will work the way their teacher has shown them it will work. They need to feel comfortable enough with a book to give it a go on their own, feel some success, and then create interest in reading their own books. We are so grateful that LEEF has made it possible for us to put in front of our students high-quality, interesting books that just happen to be decodables. It first started with LEEF funding a series of decodable books called Geodes for our first grade students. Geodes are amazing. They are written around a number of themes. Students progress through the themes as they take on more and more of the alphabetic code. Using Geodes, our first grade students have explored different countries and cultures, learned about animal traits and the scientists who study them, analyzed different Cinderella stories from all around the world, and even researched how wind can change the earth and generate power. And yes, they learned that all through a first grade decodable reader. How empowering. Then in 2022-23, LEEF gifted decodables again. This time it was for our kindergarten students. They allowed us to purchase decodable books from both Flyleaf and Haggerty publishers who have great reputations for decodables. The books are engaging and fun. Students are delighted to read about familiar characters who carry over from earlier books they've read into a different series. They follow those characters through a number of different adventures, and these decodables offer students the security of reading about familiar characters who they can follow through a number of books as they learn to love them. Following a character through a story and other stories is another great way of creating engaging readers. Who among us can't say that they loved reading another Curious George book or hearing more about the zany antics of Amelia Bedelia, or do I even need to mention Harry Potter? Even in these early years, we're setting our path with decodables. We're setting the path for our students with decodables on mastering that reading code and then reading all of the traditional literature that we've grown to love on their own as well. This past year, LEEF came through for us again. They funded more decodables. This time they geared them towards our second grade readers. They allowed us to purchase from a new publisher called Silisense. Again, these engaging books allow our students who will be rising into third grade very soon the opportunity to practice with books that are filled with the kind of advanced phonics skills that they should be encountering frequently. Things like multisyllabic words or words that have unusual vowel pairings like E-I-G-H saying A in neighbor. Not only are the kids practicing these trickiest types of phonics reading, but they are also being gradually weaned off of these decodable books. Instead of reading books that now are 100% decodable, we are introducing them to what's called bridging books. Bridging books are unique in that most of the words are decodable, maybe 80, 85, sometimes only 75%. But it encourages students to finally start being able to use some of the other strategies for reading, like context clues, using syntax in a sentence, or looking at the morphology of a word if words aren't automatically recognizable to them. But yet they've learned enough of the code so that they can take on that process of figuring out words other than decoding all of them. This systematic rollout of controlled print over their primary years offers gradual release to students. They take on more and more responsibility for cracking the code, and they learn to trust the sounds that words make when we speak, and they know that they can really find them in print as well. Therefore, once again, on behalf of all elementary teachers in our district, we send out our most sincere thanks to the LEEF Committee for helping our students become strong, capable, and independent readers. Thank you.
She was nervous before she came up, but you knocked it absolutely out of the park. You are so much better than you give yourself credit for. Thank you so much for sharing. Mr. Anishan, would you like to come up and speak? We are so fortunate to have robust music curriculum, and we are so happy to have educators who can make it happen. So Mr. Onishan is here to tell us a little bit more about how LEEF has helped to further the music.
Hi, everyone. Oh, thank you. Thanks. So, yes, my name is Tony Onishan. I teach band at Williams and Glenbrook Middle Schools. And I want to begin by first expressing my heartfelt gratitude to the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Fund for their incredible generosity the past 3 years. These past 3 years, we've been so lucky to purchase a marimba, 2 horns, and this past year alone, a bassoon and oboe for our program. And these are 4 instruments that have drastically transformed not only our band program, but the experience of our students. These instruments are essential members of the wind band and orchestra, but also, unfortunately, they're among the most expensive. And for many years, we simply did not have the resources to provide students interested in studying bassoon, horn, and oboe with these instruments. And this is a problem, as the cost of purchasing or renting these instruments can be a major barrier for families. And that meant talented students were either limited in their options or couldn't participate in band as they wanted to. Like local music shops, for instance, they don't even rent bassoons because it just doesn't make financial sense for them to do so. But now, thanks to the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Fund, we can finally offer every student the opportunity to explore a wider range of instruments regardless of their financial situation. And since we introduced these new instruments, you think a band teacher would know how to say that word. It's not a word I say every day. It's not a word. Since we introduced these new instruments into our program, the results have been truly remarkable. The marimba, which is a percussion instrument, has opened up new possibilities in our percussion section, allowing students to perform more complex and diverse pieces. The addition of the bassoon and oboe has enriched our woodwind section, giving our band a fuller, more dynamic sound, and the horns have enhanced our brass section in a way that elevated the entire ensemble. What matters most is how these instruments have expanded our students' opportunities for learning and growth. We've been able to diversify our curriculum, offering more challenging, exciting pieces of music, and we've seen the students rise to the challenge with enthusiasm and determination. The gift has also brought greater equity to our program. By eliminating the financial barrier of acquiring these instruments, more students now can fully engage in our band program, leveling the playing field for all. As Mr. George Parks, who's a very well-known band director who directed the UMass Marching Band for a few decades, once said, band is a place for everyone, and these grants have made it so much easier for all kids to partake in our program here in Longmeadow. And on a lighter but still meaningful note, these instruments have given me a valuable tool to annoy our students by forcing them to listen to my very amateur playing of oboe and bassoon, which is important, but not the main goal of this LEEF grant. Yes. So on behalf of our students and families and the entire middle school band program here at Longmeadow, I want to sincerely thank the Longmeadow Educational Excellence Fund. Your investment in our program has done so much more than provide instruments. It has provided opportunities, fostered creativity, and given students memories and skills that will last a lifetime. Thank you.
All right, so last thing to do is to hand out some certificates. As you might guess, there are folks who aren't currently here. So we're going to make sure that they get them. For those of you who are here, we're going to try to expedite the process by not necessarily calling them out, although since then, folks have come in. So we'll do a very haphazard handout of these. How's that sound? We can all have fun with it and forgive my mistakes that are forthcoming. So thank you very much. Let's get Ms. Mazza up here for the CKLA Literacy Resources. Thank you very much. All right, we have Ms. Tabin and Ms. Crandall for leveling the playing field for literacy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right, Mr. O'Neesh, and get on back up here. And you are being honored with Ms. Lauser, I want to say. Thank you very much. So none of your last names are decodables, so it's difficult. All right, we have Ms. Kangemi and Ms. Bradshaw for the Witness Stones project. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. David Allen for musical instruments at Blueberry. Thanks for getting my daughter a recorder. So much. Thank you. Oh boy. Let's see, we have Ms. Coronin and Ms. Barron for the Strong Start Flexible Seating equals Students Ready to Learn. Round of applause for them in absentia. Ms. R.P.I.N. has also contributed to the musical instruments at Blueberry Hill School. Big round of applause to her. Thank you very much. I'm sorry? What am I grabbing from? Oh, I have no idea what you're grabbing from at this point. So let's see, who is remaining who hasn't received their adjunct? So, Ms. Barry? All right, we have Ms. Barry. We're going to see if LEEF parents know what they're doing and alphabets. Hey, Ms. Barry, come on up here. Thank you very much. Concept Quest for Bridges in Mathematics. Thank you very much. All right. We have Ms. Candon here for Literacy in the World Language Classroom. Thank you. We have Mr. Cormier for English Department Classroom Libraries. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. All right, we have Dr. Tom Evasion for Instrument Acquisition, Double Bass, and Trombone. Thank you. This is impressive work on your part right now. Miss Gallo for Golf for Life. but you do a great job. Thank you. Is there anyone else who is waiting on something? Perfect. Well, we're going to make sure that everybody gets these. And I want to thank everyone for coming out today. And I just want to underscore one more time that as a parent, as a colleague, I'm really appreciative of all the hard work that you do. You're what makes Longmeadow Schools so special, right? It's not the buildings. It's not this check. It's you all, because you do the work to make it all happen. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you have lesson planning to get to. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a great evening. That being said, if we want to do a group picture all standing up here, I'm not going to say no. So let's all come on up, shall we?